a flag in honor of those who have served our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, with liberty,
indivisible,
justice.
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's see. And then I would like to open with a land acknowledgement, acknowledging that the land on which we are gathered today is unceded territory of the Wiyot people who continue to live and thrive on this land today. It is surrounded by the traditional, ancestral, and present homeland of several indigenous nations, including the Hupa, Karuk, Matol, Tolowa, Wailaki, and Yurok that make up Humboldt County. Great. At this time, we'd invite members of the public to share any comments that they might have. Do we have anyone? All right, hearing none. Let's move on to item 1.3, approving the audit report. Can I have a motion?
I so move.
I second it.
Trustee Capini, Trustee Biggin, thank you. Is there any discussion or commentary on this item?
I would just remind everybody, as we said at the last meeting, that the Audit and Finance Committee met with the auditors and reviewed the report and recommended to the full board that we accept the report. It's very clear to me reading it. I'm not an accountant. It's an excellent report with no findings, nothing modified, best that we could get.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that. You know, I was on the audit committee probably 20 years. I don't remember, maybe there was, but I really don't remember a cleaner report or even as clean. There's usually one little thing, I mean, but this was clean as you could get.
Yeah.
Any, did our auditors show up, Vice President Morrison?
Yes, I do. Yep. Stephen Curry is online.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Morning.
Do we have any questions for the auditors, or do we need to hear a summary from anyone?
Do you want me to go through a quick presentation of the report for everybody?
Yeah, I think so. Let's do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Do we want to pull that up real quick, and I'll just kind of, I'll call out the PDF page number. Awesome. So I'll start out just saying, just to thank you, Julia and the team, and everybody at the district for helping us get through this this remote audit. It's definitely was a different year, something that we probably none of us expected to do a fully remote audit. But we got through it, and it went well, and we were able to utilize our portal. We had some learning curves, but we got through it all, and I think going forward it'll be really helpful having the portal. So we'll start out on PDF page 4. Or, yeah, that works. Yeah. This is our independent auditor's report. This is our opinion over the financial statements as a whole. So this would be over the business type activities, all the numbers, including the conversion entries. Essentially, we have the few paragraphs. Management's responsibility is responsible for the preparation, fair presentation. We assist with preparing the financial statements. We express our opinion on the financial statements. We gave an unmodified opinion, which is the highest opinion at our disposal, which is on the next page. We essentially say the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the position of the business type activities and the component unit for the district. And then the next few pages is just from PDF pages 8 through 14 is just kind of just a highlight and a high level overview of the financial statements. You can kind of just see enrollment numbers, just statement of net position, income statement, just kind of year to year comparison. What we like to do is kind of jump into the notes to the financial statements, which will have some comparisons for some of these areas. So if we shoot to PDF page 28, one of the areas just quickly to go over is kind of the accounts receivable for the district at the end of the year as of June 30th, 2020. Just a couple highlights that I had. Sorry, that is PDF page 28 or report page 24. Right there. Yep. Just a few things. Just want to go over this. Was just some of the AR. I know we had some questions come up this during the meeting. Just some of the numbers. The state grants relates to that utility infrastructure project. A lot of expenses still waiting for the state reimbursements to come through. I guess one thing to note is we have the tuition and fees, and we see these high level of money. I think with the year given, there was a lot more expenses taking place, and a lot of the organizations haven't remitted the money back, so it created that high level AR. One thing that maybe to point out is as of November 2020, when we were doing the audit, one thing we say is of that amount, there was approximately 6.4 million of that has already been collected for the district, which is probably a number to look at versus what we see at this financial statement as of June 30th to say, as of now, there's probably most of this has been collected now. But as of November, the end of November, there was 6.4 million had been collected. And then if we go to PDF page 31 or report page 27, just wanted to point out kind of some of the bigger liabilities for the districts is this employee retirement system. This is the STRS and PERS. This is done at the state level. The district just has to report their proportionate share. It's all formula based, driven based on contributions that are reported in the STRS system and PERS system. The district's overall liability did go up this year. One of the factors is we noted that the STRS actually went down. It was 17.8 million in the previous year, 17.5. One of the big factors for that was the actual plan level went from $91.9 billion to $90.3 billion. So the district share went down with that. As far as the PERS, it went up from 16.1 million to 18 million. The big factor for that, once again, is just kind of at the plan level. The PERS went from $26.7 billion to $29.2 billion. District really has no control over that. It's just how the plan performs, how a lot of it's based on kind of their earnings that they're making, which maybe one thing that we can note, which is on page 31 or PDF page 35, kind of just shows the volatility related to these programs. So this would be for STRS. And as you can see, kind of they're using a 7.1% discount rate to come up with how we got to the 17 million. But you see, if it went down if they came up short on their earnings by 1%, you can take that 17 million and really goes up to 26 million. Or if they did better, it can really decrease significantly. They've not made changes in years on that. They've been staying with the 7.1%. So there has been no major changes in a while for that. And then if we go to page 35 or PDF page 39, kind of the same thing as you can see right there with the PERS plan. The 18 million is based off the 7.15% discount rate. And if it went down, decreased, they didn't come up with their earnings as much. You can see it can go up to almost $26 million with just a 1%. And then vice versa, if it went up 1%, it would go down from 18 to 11 million. And then I also wanted to jump into the other major portion of the debt is the Opeb, and kind of just highlight some basic things on that, which is on page 38 or PDF page 42. Just wanted to show kind of the beginning balance. Started out the district's post-employment benefits was 5.9. You're down to 5.5. The district doesn't have an irrevocable trust. as of this June 30th, 19 from the Opeb actuary. All this is done based off the actuarial study that's done every year. They do a roll forward evaluation, and then every other year you have to do a full valuation. Just to show the district is contributing and, you know, managing that liability without having to have that fiduciary net position. But it is always good to have one of those put in place, and it does. Every dollar that goes into that irrevocable trust will, going forward, reduce that liability. And then kind of on the next page, you'll see the same thing. It's based off the targeted earnings. There's really factors. It doesn't, for you, it doesn't change it materially, coming up 1 or 2% higher or lower. But yes, it will. The biggest factor with that is just the contributions and having that irrevocable trust or paying additional money into that liability. And then maybe we can just kind of look at on page 41 or PDF page 46, you can kind of see at that OPEB a high level year over year, you know, in June 30, 2018, that liability was 6.3 million. And here we are, June 30, 2020, we're at 5.5 million. So that liability is definitely going down. If we go forward 2 pages, page 43, just kind of a highlight for the STRS and PERS. As you can see, kind of the district's proportionate share in relation to the net pension liability goes back all the way to 2015 when it was first required for this to be presented. It will eventually make its way to 10 years of information being shown, but you can see 2015 CalSTRS was 11 million. Now we're at 17.5 million. For PERS, we were at 6.5, and here we are at 18 million. Just showing kind of the financial liability of that going up on the district. Like I said, there's not really a whole lot of control. It's just how the plan performs at the state level. And then I just want to go into our final opinions, which begin on page 57 or PDF page 64. So the first one is our independent auditor's report on internal control. So our first opinion we talked about was the financial statements as a whole. This is actually your internal control over financial reporting. So we looked at various areas. We pulled sample selections for cash receipts, cash disbursement, payroll, HR, various state areas and other compliance areas that we identified. We look at individual transactions. We look at the district's controls over that. We obtain the support, and we just kind of match the documentation, make sure everything that's reported looks good, and that helps us get comfortable with that financial statement reporting. We give an unmodified opinion also related to the district's controls. On page 59, we have the independent auditor's report on compliance for each major federal program. So this is our federal compliance side of the audit. Every year we have to look at the district's total federal expenditures, and we have to do some planning to see which programs we're going to test. For your district, it's typically just student financial aid that makes the threshold for the type A. But for this year, we also had the CARES Act. So we did test CARES Act and the federal financial aid, and we had no findings with relation to those programs. For the federal financial aid, maybe just talk a little bit more. We're looking at not only student eligibility, but we're looking at different reporting. We're looking at reports that are submitted. We're looking at the ICERs. We're looking at the COD screens, we're looking at student units, enrollments, just to make sure that the students are being paid based off of how many units they're enrolled. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, and it's uniform guidance that's released every single year that gives us kind of our building blocks of what we're going to be testing for that year. There really hasn't been changes in the past few years, just as some additional reporting requests. And then for the CARES Act, we were looking at the mostly the student aid portion and then the institution portion. And we gave an unmodified opinion for that. And yeah, if we jump forward to the next opinion, that'll be the independent auditor's report on state compliance. So this is the state compliance portion of our testing. As you can see right there, those are the programs that we're required to look at every year. This is released by the chancellor's office, and they update it annually, and they list out the procedures of what we're looking for that. We tested all those programs, and we had no findings, and we give an unmodified opinion. And then if we go forward 2 pages to page 63, just to point out, you can see that this is just a summary, just saying we had unmodified opinions and no findings. and list out those 2 federal programs and put the district as a low risk auditee. And then the next pages after that would be a summary if we had any financial statement findings, federal compliance findings, or state compliance findings. And then the final page would be prior year, which we did not have any findings. Any questions?
All right. I'm not seeing any questions. Please get my attention if you need to. Oh, Dr. Mullery?
I don't have a question, but if we're starting to wrap this up, I did want to take the opportunity to thank Vice President Morrison for all the work that she and her team have done throughout this year that resulted in such an excellent auditor's report. So thank you, Vice President Morrison, and please share our thanks with your entire team.
Thank you.
Yeah, super proud of this college and the work that the business office has been doing, and especially in the context of this crazy COVID year and CARES funding. There could have been some slip up. There could have been something. There wasn't. So just super impressed with this college, and Dr. Flamer, with your leadership. Thank you. All right, let's see. Hearing no further discussion or questions, can we call the vote?
Carol Matthews,
Yes.
Colleen Mullery,
All right, yes.
Sally Biggin,
Yes.
Tracy Copini,
Yes.
Rebecca Robertson,
Yes.
Danny Kelly.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Having no further business, I would like us to adjourn. We don't need a motion or anything for that, do we? We just adjourn.
Nope.
Thank you guys for making this special meeting, and Dr. Morrison, or Vice President Morrison, and Cynthia and Keith, thank you.
You're welcome.